Greetings, I'm Chappers.
I'm Dave.
And welcome to, what's the show called?
Does It Groove?
Yes. Will it groove or does it groove?
I don't know. What do these guys think?
I think we should call it, yeah, what do you think? Does it or will it groove? Can it pocket? Basically, it's about time that Dave and I did a bunch of stupid bass videos and entertained you all with his low end. And just because Dave was heavily involved in the design of the MLB, and it's been such a long time since anybody saw you playing it other than coming to a tour.
Well, the last time I ever did a video, which I think actually was about a year ago.
It was a year ago. Well, you get one a year with Dave, but not anymore. We're changing things up a little bit. And also, to celebrate the fact that Dave spiralised his thumb, we figured it would be great just to bring him in and do a couple abuse it some more. His already poorly injured thumb should be used to great effect. What does that mean?
That is so that Pablo knows what tune this bass is.
Oh right, because it's just got.
I can't show people
Unless he garrots himself. Yeah. It's got a C on the back. I thought it might be for Chappers. I thought it was just so he could remind himself of one of his best mates while playing his bass. But no, it's just a tune.
Yeah, it's true.
What I like is that
the whole Pablo thing was a cover-up.
It's like a backward C as well.
It's because of the way that it sits in the guitar racks.
So most of you will already know this is a Chapman Guitars bass, and it's the first ever bass that Chapman made, and we're really, really proud of it. Although I don't play bass at all.
You play a bit.
I do play a bit, but I play two riffs. One of them is Black Velvet.
Nice.
And one of them is a little bit of Thunder Thumbs from something I saw him playing on that I thought was quite cool. That's awesome. About it. I'm really shit at bass, which is why we got you to fulfil the sax and bass warrior duties. So tell us about the spec of the MLB.
Okay, well we've got two. I'm going to take the strap off.
Do that.
Make it easier to show. So it's a Bubinga body, which has been chambered so that it's not too heavy.
Because the Proto 1.
The Proto 1 was really silly. It was
funny.
About 10% bigger all the way around.
A bit like me.
Thickness and everything. And yeah, it hadn't been chambered at all, and it just it wasn't a good vibe. It was going to end up with lawsuits for chiropractor fees.
A lot of people don't realise that when I ask for prototypes normally, I don't ask for them to be ready at all. Just as a trend, because you can take wood away, but you can't add wood.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice way of finding out how something sounds. And for example, on my RC ML3 RC, we didn't have it weight relieved, and it sounded sick. So I kept the prototype in B's.
They just sound different, don't they?
Yeah.
It's there's kind of a bit more, I think, sustain, like harmonics tend to bring out a bit more, and they sing a bit more when there's no chambering going on.
Yeah, there's more machine behind the strings to make it resonate.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it sounded great, chambered anyway.
Well, the wood density of Bubinga is quite, tight, I guess. So it is quite sort of bright as it is, and rings out for a lot. It has a lot of inherent sustain anyway. So I guess not having it or having it chambered didn't really affect it too much. That, and also this is a through neck as well, which again arguably isn't quite as bright as a bolt on.
Yeah. But
it does have that extra sustain. So with the chambering and the through neck, it just works.
It pops.
So yeah, it's got a through neck, which is maple and Bubinga as well. Or Wengi.
Is it? I think it was 5 with Wengi.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So it's a 5-piece through
neck. Is it Wenge or Wengi? I don't even know.
You know what? I've had this so many times, and
if there's a wood expert watching this video, could you please tell us how it's pronounced? I think it might be Wengi.
I think it's Wengi.
We do, but I think it's an African word, and I don't know how it's pronounced. would be
Plus
interesting.
we're British. That's my excuse.
True. We pronounce everything wrong.
Yeah.
What was it I said recently? Because my wife is Maltese, so she speaks Italian and Arabic. Well, Maltese, sorry. And I think we got some biscuits, and they were the ones, the Garibaldi biscuits with like the currants in them. Yeah. And she was like, "What the are you saying?" I'm like, "Garibaldi." She went, "Extra Garibaldi." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, Garibaldi." But I'm not going to say that in a supermarket without getting slapped by some wonderful person behind a counter.
Yeah.
What are the tuners? They're just proprietary Chapman Korean-made tuners?
Yeah, they're just... I mean, to be honest, with the first bass, wanted to kind of stay true to where the first Chapman guitar was, so it's all about getting sort of expensive parts that you won't change.
Yes.
And getting cheaper parts that you can upgrade, so you can get a really good quality instrument really cheap, and then kind of personalise it yourself and change bits of the hardware and bits of the electronics and that sort of thing. And what you end up with at the end is a really, really high spec bass that will last you forever.
I love that. That's really cool.
I mean, that's where Chapman started really. So I think me and the 100 designers kind of wanted to keep that ethic.
Yeah. We should say a shout out to Ross as well for saying, and thank you for helping in the project.
Ross Rucker.
Yes, good man. You haven't broken these tuners yet, so that's good. No. And have you broken any of it yet?
I haven't.
I thought you were going to say you've broken something.
No.
Dave basically breaks things.
Yeah, I have broken every single bass I've owned apart from any of the Chapmans.
Wow, that's just got to be luck.
I think that is. Yeah. I mean, I'm very heavy-handed. I do a lot of gigging, a lot of touring. I'm not the nicest with my instruments. I like to put them through their paces.
He punches them.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen. It's a thing.
Yeah.
What's the fretboard made from?
That is also Wengi.
Okay.
Or Wenge. Or Wagenge. Yeah, so, I mean, they're stock humbucking pickups. That, again, they're passive to keep costs down. And there's 4 controls. The pickups can be coil tap, so you can have that sort of single core sound, but obviously they're not hum cancelling, so you do get that kind of, is it 60 cycle hum?
I'm going to say yes.
I think it's 60. So it can be a bit noisy, but I really like the sound of the single core.
You use that most of the time, don't you?
Pretty much all the time, yeah. I think mainly because the music that we play is so, like, we play in very low tunings and we play with a lot of drive and that sort of thing, and I find with them as humbuckers, it's just a bit too subby and...
It's a bit too subby.
I don't know, I like to cut through. I've got to cut through you guys, so...
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. He definitely cuts her up my ass every night on stage when his 6 speakers... What is that speaker cabinet?
This is a 610.
And it's a one-off, isn't it?
In fact, there was one... Yeah, this is a prototype for their new series that they brought out about this time last year. And it sounds great.
Yes. It sounds great, but I normally, because of where in it is, I don't hear it, I feel it.
Do you remember there was one gig on our last tour, and we got to the venue and they actually had a 410
I do remember.
Ashdown with similar drivers. It was an older sort of model.
So you went 10.
You know what? Yeah. we stacked them up together, and it was a 10x10, and it was ridiculous.
It was stupid.
I can't remember where that was. Was that Glasgow?
I want to forget about where that was. 'Cause it was crazy. Thank God I where it is, otherwise it would have been a nightmare. Thank you to Shaw for sorting us out. So everything's Wenge apart from the maple on the neck
and the
Bubinga body.
So, I mean, just before I move on to what the controls are, whilst we're talking about sort of the approach being that you could upgrade it and stuff, the cavity was sort of over-spec'd, if you see what I mean.
Oh, there's big.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in there, just so that you can put active preamp or active pickups or active preamp and active pickups in. So there's loads of space in there to toy with, so you're not sort of limited and have to pay a luthier to start routing more space out and whatever. You can just buy whatever you want.
Feel free to toy with Dave's cavity.
So the bridge is also just a Korean stock, but again I'm prone to bait and breaking bridges, and as yet I've not.
If you've never seen a guy break a bridge, it's an interesting experience.
So I mean the controls are, you've got the tone part at the back here, which has got the coil tap on to tap into make the single coil sound, and then you've got a pickup blend with a distant in the middle, so you know where you are, so you can get that kind of half sound, and then there's just 2 volume knobs. for each of the pickups, so bridge pickup and net pickup. A lot of people have wondered kind of why you've done that, but you can get a lot from doing blending and stuff, and in the studio sometimes you find that, you know, with the particular rig you've got or with the microphones you've got, it's getting a bit boomy, and you can kind of still get the pickup blend in the middle but just kind of pull away some of that volume. It's good for swells as well. You can kind of blend in more low ends whilst you're playing and stuff like that.
Dave's the perfect person to talk about an instrument because he's a producer engineer as well. So it's really, really useful to have a guy in the design part or sort of process of an instrument who's thinking not just about how the instrument will sound live, but also about what he can do with it in the studio and, you know, upgrades.
And obviously, if you are upgrading and you want to get a active preamp or whatever to put in there, you've already got the 4 control layout, so you could get a stacked treble and bass pot at the back, and then maybe a mid boost here, and then a pickup blend and an overall volume, and you completely change the way it's configured, and you're not having to take a drill to it and route more things.
You've been looking at an Aguila one, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
What's that one called?
It's the OBP3 preamp.
May the force be with him.
Oddly relevant this time, I think. I mean, the other thing is the woods themselves were kind of. So I should probably start with how this bass was designed, really, for anyone that doesn't know. Obviously, Chapman have been making collaboratively designed guitars for some time now, and the model worked really well. But being that it was going to be the first bass, we ran the risk of a lot of guitarists voting on a bass.
We didn't want to dirty the waters with people like me.
I'm sure it would have been a cool bass and that kind of thing, but I think we felt that to do the first bass, we really wanted to have bass players design it and come up with something that really was a bass that would appeal to bass players.
I think it would be fair to say it was a very difficult process to find 100 people that were interested in being involved in the design.
Yeah.
Because bass, the thing about bass is it's really cool, but it's just not as popular as guitar. And as a result,
I think it probably is.
Well, you reckon?
I find the common trait, and I'm guilty of this as well, is bass players tend to be very quiet.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
Quiet, bit introvert.
Quiet when they talk and at home, but not quiet on stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. Maybe that is a thing. Maybe bassists just don't voice themselves as much on social media and get involved that much. But I mean, it took us a while to find 100 people who were dedicated to the task.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah.
Absolutely did it, and it was really good.
And so, I didn't vote on any of it myself personally, but I helped choose what the votes were going to be on.
You were the guiding voice.
And that meant that I could kind of stay in control of things like the wood choices, to the extent that after, for instance, they voted on Bubinga, I knew what sort of, I could look at the wood densities and choose some other woods that were going to suit that sound, so that the end result would be what this is. And basically what that means is you've got very even string sounds. So on a lot of basses I find that you play down the bottom and it's really boomy, and then you get to the top and it thins out or it's quieter, and it's just not even, and you find on stage you drop in and out, and on recordings you can't really hear it properly. And so
that's really interesting, because it's the last thing I'd ever think about on an electric guitar normally.
It probably isn't so much of an issue on an electric guitar because of the frequency range it takes up. But you find with room tones and particularly bass amps and the pedals that are designed for basses and stuff, often you'll find that the low will be really, really boomy, and then you play at the top and you can't hear it. Particularly when you're playing with guitarists and stuff.
So you guided these 100 people through the various areas to design. Yeah,
trying to bear in mind things like that. So everything was kind of chosen for that reason, and other things as well, like holding its tuning when you're on the road, which just does really well. We've gone right up to Aberdeen, and the bass has been sat in the van for a couple of days.
Some of the warm-up green rooms were a mouldy corridor.
Yep.
a mouldy cellar. If it was mouldy, dark and small, pretty much guarantee that was a Dorje green room at some point.
And yeah, it's important, you know, because if it's cold back there, you want to be playing and warming up before you go on stage, and you don't want to get on stage and then there be a room full of heat from a load of sweaty people and a load of 1,000-watt par cans like firing at you, and the temperature to just suddenly change from going to quite cold, 15 degrees or whatever, up to whatever it is, 30 odd. A lot of wood's gonna start reacting quickly and mess up your tuning. And
well, that's why a 5-piece neck is really good, because the woods are acting against each other in a way that keep it straight and true. I've got one question for you.
Yes.
Does it groove?
Does it groove? That's a good question. So it's going to be, does it groove?
Yes. Why don't you show the wonderful viewers just a few of the tones you can get from the bass?
Yep.
And then what we'll do is I'll very cleverly splice in between our chat bits of you jamming, so you can just jam away as long as you want, and I'll cut it all in.
Sweet. My hands are really cold. So,
just warm up if you want.
I may have to warm up for a little bit first.
Yeah. But you can reintroduce this bit and say, why don't we just give you some tones from the bass, and then I'll cut it in.
Cool. In which case, I'll just warm up with some nonsense, and then want some warm talk.
Dave is complaining that his hands are cold in this beautifully warm studio.
Yeah.
But I can't
hear
them.
They are feeling.
They are fairly cold.
Fairly cold.
Well, I'm used to my wife going, feel my hands in ice.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've always got really hot hands, so can't help it. I'm a hot person.
I am not hot.
No.
Despite a certain hashtag.
Dave, I think you're hot.
Cheers, man.
So, why don't you start with the bridge humbucker?
Cool.
Just let's give them some simple, basic, all good English British tones.
Basically, clean. I've just rolled.
Oh, what head are we using?
Oh, this is it's a ABM 500, and it's limited edition from Ashdown. I think the only thing that makes it limited edition is that it's white. But I don't know whether that's true or not. But I mean, I normally use or I use quite often a ABM 900, and tonally it doesn't sound any different to me.
It's just a bit quieter.
No, it's not.
Dave.
I'll tell you why though.
Why?
The ABM 900s have two output transformers, 500 watts each. And you only get the benefit of the full 900 watts if you're running two speaker cabs. So actually, it is literally exactly the same.
So you're saying you need another speaker cab, is that what you're saying?
If I want to be louder than this, yes.
Right, okay. That's fine. So yeah, give us the humbucker on the bridge, let's take a listen to the tune.
Yeah, this is a clean sound, I guess.
That's like a chocolate sound.
Yeah,
it's like kind of thick and kind of got dark overtones to it.
Yeah, it's kind of got that, I guess, sort of like funky kind of thing.
And what's the predominant frequency in that particular?
I'd say it's probably around 400 hertz.
Around 400 hertz. I just like asking Dave that, or James, our sound tech, because they was going, it's about this.
Yeah, I think that kind of like the low end that's there and the bit that makes it kind of punchy and a little bit chewy is that kind of like 400 hertz, I reckon.
Kind of human speech.
But obviously, if we chord tap it, it'll start to dip those and it'll be a bit flatter.
Do it.
So.
To me, that just sounds like you playing bass. Because you're playing bass, but that's the tone I associate with you playing.
Yeah. It's got less of that kind of, I guess, kind of funky sound. It's a bit more open. It's more modern sound, I guess. Kind of more for the.
That kind of riff that we shouldn't play or we'll get told off.
Yeah.
Play something else.
Hinting.
Play a bit of something else.
It was a song that I wrote when I was
3.
I want to say 13 or 14.
Why don't we use that in a Dorje tune? It's sick.
Could do.
It'd be wicked for a breakdown.
Yeah.
On a song about time or something. I'm going to start thinking about writing songs. Let's do the neck pickup then.
So, humbucker, neck. Sounds something like this.
That's a really satisfying sound.
Yeah, it's kind of haunting and hollow.
Yeah.
But like cozy as well.
Yeah. It made me feel quite sleepy. And tap that one.
Same sort of thing.
I mean, pull up the tap.
Oh, tap it.
Yeah. Associate that kind of sound with Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, it's a bit more raspy.
Yeah.
Kind of a bit more.
That's great.
Can't play all of it. They're just going to throw in a clip.
I'll get some pass.
One thing I haven't mentioned yet is, or haven't played around with yet, is the tone knob. Just to give you an idea of maybe the full spectrum that this bass can do. If we leave it on humbucking, back the tone all the way off, and then move all the way to the neck pickup, you can get a really subby kind of dub sound.
Dub.
For that kind of And obviously the full extreme of that would be kind of what we've already had, I guess, which would be all the way to the bridge pickup, and the treble all the way up, and then chord tapped, and that would give us a much more kind of bright, raspy sound.
That's a bit like the kind of bass tone you hear in soca. Have you ever heard soca?
Yeah.
Yeah, like African party music. Sounds cool.
And I suppose if we roll the treble off as well whilst we're there. Quite good for a kind of like more virtuoso-y solo bass, I guess.
It reminds me of the Church of Dave tone.
Yeah. I suppose that's that kind of like.
So you can't see what on the floor. He's got just a ridiculous amount of pedals and things. Do you want to just put a bit of gain on, and we'll have a listen to some gain tones?
I can do that.
Do you want to use the dark glass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that works. So I'll leave it full tapped, which might be a little bit noisy with the game.
No one cares.
And I'll put the pickups, so we're just listening to both.
Yes.
And yeah, bit of drive.
That sounds sick.
Yeah.
I'm really, really happy that we're doing this. I'm really enjoying my role of sitting here and just chatting shit and drinking coffee with my bro. So guys, we're going to be doing a series of these videos. This is going to be in a tiny playlist on my channel. I just figured it's just time to bring the Dave in and do some Dave stuff. If there's any product in particular you'd like us to review, if there's anything in particular you'd like Dave to teach or show you, please tell us in the comment section below. If you're a bassist, please tell the community that this is going on, and let's make some great content and enjoy having some great bass tonage. Does it groove? I think it does. I've been Rob.
Dave.
See you later.